Hi, everybody. My name is Skylar Samrat. I'm a partner with Manastash Architecture Planning and Development, or MAT. I'm here with my partners, Mark and Molly. We're in the back left corner as I'm standing, back right. Thanks to you. Looking forward to talking to you. We're going to be talking about different types of ADUs and design considerations when you are planning your site.
Oh, it is.
All right. So just to start out for basics, what is an accessory dwelling unit? That is what ADU stands for. It's accessory, which means it's not the primary use of a lot. It's accessory to the main house as far as the city or the county is concerned. And it is, in fact, a dwelling unit. So it has its own bathroom, kitchen facilities, living and sleeping areas. So if you're just building a room in your backyard, that is not an ADU, it's different permitting. So it's a simpler thing, but there are a lot of advantages to having an ADU. Why build an ADU? I think a lot of people already answered this question, but just to go through some basic scenarios. You might do it for visiting guests. You might do it if you want to have a home office, but you want a little bit more resale value from that investment, right? If you're just building a room that's designed for exactly what you need as a home office worker, that might not translate even when you go to sell your home. You might be interested in intergenerational living. This is becoming very popular. So either your children or your parents move into your backyard. You might be looking for rental income. Kind of a hybrid of the two. If you are older and your house is getting too big, you might build an ADU for yourself, move into that ADU, and then rent out your house. So you're getting rental income, more rental income from your existing house, and you're living in a more manageable, perhaps more accessible, aging-friendly space without having to change your address. And then finally, you might want to use the ADU to house a home health aide worker or other staff or assistant. And that last scenario is actually kind of an important historic one. There's nothing new about ADUs. There have been carriage houses in North America for hundreds of years. That's one in Yakima from 1905. There's also a typology called alley houses that was really common in cities in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. And that was oftentimes worker housing, and these were always secondary to the main unit that would have been in the front. Today, there are different types of ADUs. The big categories are detached or DADUs, or attached or ADUs. Quite simply, whether or not it's attached to the primary residence or not. And they have slightly different rules, especially in the city. Within attached ADUs, you don't actually have to build a new structure. You can convert parts of your existing house into an ADU, and that can actually be a much more affordable way to build an ADU depending on your setup. So an attic conversion or basement conversion, you can convert your garage. You could build a carriage house above the garage. It's kind of hiding behind the video there. Or of course, you could have a carriage house above a freestanding garage. And that could be new construction, or it could be something that you add to an existing garage. We're going to talk a little bit about design considerations. This is just sort of a grab bag. Access is an important one. And a big factor here is what you're using your ADU. So if you're renting it out, you want to think carefully about how that ADU is accessed relative to how your house is accessed, relative to your yard, relative to parking. These are all kind of big considerations. Access is also important for construction, especially on smaller lots. So you're going to want to think about how this ADU is going to get built on the site and making sure that material and crews can get back there, or if it's modular, it can be crammed in. You want to think about that siting relative to privacy and shared yards. So for intergenerational housing, you might really want a shared yard where both units are accessing the same space. If you're renting it out, where you don't like your family quite so much, you might want to think about splitting the yard and having that also screen the views from the ADU into the house. Privacy also extends to the placement of windows, and here what we call clerestory windows up here above the wall there at the top along the ceiling are your friend because they allow light in without creating new views out. And so especially along alleys or buildings that are close to lot lines or close to your existing house, it's a really great solution. If you are doing a basement conversion, you also need to think about windows, not just for light, but for fire egress. In the city of Ellensburg, you need 24 inches net clear height, 20 inches width. And then this is the real important one. You need no more than 44 inches from the floor to the highest portion of the sill, which means that if your basement is sufficiently low into the ground, you're going to need what's called a window well. It's kind of exactly what it sounds like, a hole in your yard that's set back so that your window can go down and be low enough to the floor that you can climb out. That window well needs a minimum 9 square feet horizontal area, needs to be 36 inches a horizontal projection minimum, and as well as width. And if it's greater than 44 inches deep, you need to have either a permanently affixed ladder or stairs so that you can climb out of it. But those don't have to be just purely utilitarian. You can do landscape stairs and you can actually make them look quite nice. And then finally, utilities. You need to decide whether or not you're going to have separate metering. The utility might have an opinion about this, even if it's not written into the letter of the code, so you're going to want to have that conversation early. If you're thinking about renting out the house, you probably are definitely going to want a separate meter so that your tenant isn't just running up your utility bill. If you're doing a basement conversion, you've got some additional considerations around gravity. And you're probably going to need what's called an injector pit and an injector pump to get that wastewater up and out and above your sewer line so it drains out. And this might mean cutting through your existing foundation and might make your basement conversion a little more expensive than you might have initially thought. So those are just the big broad categories, but of course every project is unique. And so we're looking forward to talking to you all. Again, we're in the back corner there. And if you miss us tonight, our office is on Pearl Street next to the bookstore. So stop by and say hi. Now I'm going to introduce Mark from the city of Ellensburg.